So on the sales page of any of our online courses, you'll most likely see one of these product boxes. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how we make them in Photoshop. Now, there are tons of templates for these from loads of different stock sites, but I find that quite often they just look a bit off, whether it's the perspective or the lighting on it. I'm just not sold on it looking real and professional. But a few years back, I came across this template from Graphics Fuel, and I think it's great. We've linked it in the description for you to download it. It's a free download. So you just come onto this page and just come under. It shows a few pictures and you can just download product box mockup. And there we go, it's downloaded. Now, if I bring this over, you can see that what we get is we get a picture of how they've set this box up. We get the Photoshop document itself, and we get some resources from them. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the product box with Photoshop. This is the 2024 version. And here we are. So what we can do now, you can see it's open this up, and I'm going to just zoom this in. And you can see down at the bottom here, you've got 2 red pieces and then 3 gray. Well, what this is this color fill here is the background. And then once the background's gone as well, it'll be transparent. I like to use these as transparent because it just means that it looks like the box is sat on the page rather than we've just kind of put a photo of a box on a page. And then in here, you've got some other bits to edit, like the shadows, the box itself, and the spine of it. I wouldn't recommend you changing these. These have been pretty well done anyway. So what we're going to do is just on these ones we've got, you can see box right artwork and spine artwork. So we can double click on the image of any of these and it's going to open up a linked document. So what we can do is we can open up both of these and you can now see really what it's doing. It's added these both in. So if you're not confident in Photoshop or you use something like Canva, you can make this shape in Canva and then bring in just one big image. It's 960 by 1357. But if you're happy in Photoshop, then we can just build this out in Photoshop. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a rectangle and just adjust it to be the right shapes. And then up in fill, let's make it this kind of gray. Actually, no, let's make it a blue. We'll go with that. And then I'm going to grab this text here and just remove that. Now, what I like doing with these is kind of having 2 layers. So what I will do is I will add in another rectangle. Just bring this right to the bottom and adjust the size of it. You can kind of go with what you think looks nice on here. But I'm going to make this white so you can kind of see what we've done. I'm just going to bring that up a little bit. So now if I hit to Command S or Control S if you're on Windows, then you can see this is automatically brought it on here. So now we can start getting a bit creative. So say for example, this was for our Kajabi Kickstart program. Then what I would do is I would go and get the transparent logo. Now, I know I'm going to do this on a dark background, but I'm going to bring in, we made a light and a dark version. So I'm going to bring them both in and I'm going to make this back this gray. So what I can do is I can click on here and then just click to pick that gray. That logo has pretty much disappeared, but that's good. That's what we want. Now I can move this and just kind of reshape it to be a nicer size. And at any point I can save it, look back in here and go, yep, that looks nice, or potentially no. So actually I'm going to bring this down a little bit, save it, and come over into here. And maybe that's what I like. So now what I can do is I can either in this white or potentially in the blue of this Kajabi, then I would usually add a bit down here kind of saying what this is. So for us, this is to create and promote a mini course in 28 days. Now what I can do is I can change this font. So I know for this product we use a font called Pantone. So I'm just going to search Pantone black caps. That's the one I want. Now I'm just going to change in here where these are changing size. So create and promote can be smaller. Mini course can be a bit bigger. And then I can also adjust the spacing over here. So I can just bring that up a bit. And then there we go. That's kind of nice. And I'm actually as well just going to bring that all in a little bit so there's some padding around it. So there we go. That's really potentially the front of this box. Alternatively, we could make this rectangle, which is the white one, we could make that our blue. So I can pick that from here. And then that means that this text wants to be white. So you can see really this is starting to look good already. And actually let me show you now that there is some of this on here. Down in here, what this is say for example this shine. You can see it's just adding a bit here. And so you can see actually there's this shine which adds a nice bit and then a shadow at the bottom. So yeah, you're really just kind of, this is like the lighting and the adjustments of it. So we're going to leave that. Now, when I come back into here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy both of my rectangles. And I'm going to come in here, delete all these layers, and then paste my rectangle. Now, what this is going to do is if I don't change the height of these, it's going to paste it in at the right height. So now immediately if I hit to apply and save it, then you can see it adds this kind of nice bottom layer to it. So now what I can do is we've got the icon for this Kajabi Kickstart. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring that icon in. There we go. And let's make it a bit smaller. And I like to put it down in here. And so that is quite nice. Now also what I can do is I like to shorten these because I kind of treat this bit like the spine of a book. You wouldn't often see multiple lines on there. So I try to have something kind of big on it, but is also short enough that it can be in that kind of big text. So say for example, for our Echem Live Academy, I would usually put ELA. This Kajabi Kickstart, I could put, say for example, KJK or just KK. I kind of think that that is a bit broad for a lot of people. So what I'm just going to do is put Kajabi. So there we go. And now I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. I want that first letter to be at the top. There we go. Hit done. And then I'm also going to make this Pantone as well. Change it to be black caps. And let's just bring this down a bit. So that is potentially what we want. Just center it up. So now I don't like this really. What I like to do is I like to make it a bit more subtle. So what I'm potentially going to do on here is I'm just going to double click on this text to open up my layer styles. And now we're going to add two things. We're going to add a stroke and then a color overlay. So what we're going to do is on this stroke, going to have a white stroke and just change it to be center. And then what we're going to do as well is we're going to add a color overlay and we're going to pick that background color. Now you can kind of see what we're doing. We're making a bit of an outline here. So I'm going to lighten that off a bit and then let's try it at about 20%. So we're just kind of trying to make this a little bit more subtle. And at any point we can come back in here and change any of these. For example, I think this is actually potentially a bit too small. So again, we can just save that, come over in here. And actually, I quite like that. You can really kind of edit these how you want. You could potentially also bring in some branding. So say, for example, if I wanted our kind of company branding, then I could bring that down here and just make it very small and faint. We could either put that there, save it, and then come and look. And you can see that's there. Or potentially, if we want, we could bring that down here. And now I'm just going to kind of recenter that so that it's taking that into account. And so yeah, maybe we quite like that. That's quite nice. So you can now kind of see what we're doing. And now what you want to do is just hit File, Export, Quick Export as PNG will be good. And then it'll ask you where you want to. So you can put this back in the product box mockup, hit Save. And now in this bit from before, I've got the mockup box. This is the image. And then this is the Photoshop document. Now you can change the names of these, of course. I would recommend keeping a kind of master file somewhere, just so that you don't need to go and find that graphics fuel site again and go and download it from there. It's just a bit easier if you kind of have a local file for just this is the product box every time you duplicate it and then make a new one. So there we go. I hope this helped you make these product boxes. Now just on your sales page, you can just upload this image and it's gonna make it quite a nice, it feels like a physical thing. So I hope that helped you to make these product boxes. If it did, then be sure to like this video and I'll see you in the next one.